What was that?
I forgot to pour this in. I was so busy watching.
Production value.
There we go. All right. Hey, welcome.
Hey.
Welcome. I'm orange tonight for some reason.
You do look like you've been tanning.
I haven't. It's this whole. I mean, it doesn't look that way here, but
it's
the late Danny Tanner.
Yes.
But welcome to the EriDan Film Festival. It is Monday, October 16th, 2023, 5 o'clock on the west, 8 o'clock on the east.
Episode 173 of the EriDan Film Festival.
173.
173.
It's not a very flattering angle.
We talk movies with friends and family to everyone's delight. Maybe.
Yes.
I don't know. We'll find out. Last week, what was it? Corpse Bride ended up on the first page. Could that happen tonight again? Another first pager movie? It's hard to say because we'll be discussing 1971's Fiddler on the Roof. I know, Dan, you saw this when it came out. You were there for the debut, I believe, the premiere.
I was not. Although Topol, I believe, is also a toothpaste.
Oh. And a streaming service. I have no idea.
Is it really?
No, I have no idea.
You said you have no idea. Why do I play along?
Yeah, exactly. So this is a chance you can join us to talk about Fiddler on the Roof, to talk about movies in general. And of course, you want to be here when we pick next week's movie, right? Because maybe you get to pick next week's movie. So it's a big deal. You know, The whole show is a big deal. So we want you to be here. We want you to have fun. We want you to join us. You can be in the comments. You can be with us live. You can turn this.
There's all kinds of things you can
watch
do.
Football. I'm sure there's football happening somewhere. But
Monday
don't do
football,
that.
I think
That'd be a terrible.
Starts in a half an hour. The Steelers are not playing. The Seahawks are not playing. So I don't care.
I'm not playing. I'm serious. Let's go.
Although I was impressed that you knew there were 4 quarters to football.
Hey, I know football. I just, it's too long. The plot doesn't move along fast enough.
All right. Speaking of plots.
Did you say speaking of putts?
I said what I said.
I mean, Eric knows football enough. I mean, can we keep in mind he was in band for a lot of years?
Yes. Yeah.
You learned some football from band.
I know football. I've played football, not like professionally.
I remember playing football out in the yard.
Like I know the thing. I just don't like
Adam will be watching
but yard football doesn't have quarters.
The way we did it did.
We were very intense in Patterson Heights, let me tell you.
Yeah, we actually we played quarters during football. We throw quarters into beer shot glasses.
And Taylor Swift would watch from the stands. Who knew?
That's the reason you have shown to football now. Duh.
That's why Eric has to watch Saturday Night Live from this week.
Yeah, that was actually excellent. That was one of the best skits they've had all year.
Eric is officially a Kansas City Chiefs fan.
Well, there you go.
That's a football team.
I have nothing. I have no transition. Do you have a transition?
Speaking of transitions.
Stacey and Wade.
It's us.
Each other's breath away.
Stacey and Wade. And Wade.
The love theme from Fiddler on the Roof.
And the other Wade.
The other Wade.
The other Wade.
Okay.
On the one hand.
There is no other hand.
Oh, he got so mad.
Oh, wait, that's a Seinfeld reference.
Stacey and Wade. Stacey
and Wade.
How would we become the lyrics?
I think Dan is the only one that can officially do the impersonations tonight.
Okay, there you go.
And
Speaking of
going.
in-person,
It's Laser Wolf.
It's such a good name. I know that's not how it's spelled.
You know,
but it's
here's my issue.
It reminds me of Laser Cats from Saturday Night Live.
No, all I could think about was from Guardians of the Galaxy. All I could think about was Taserface.
oh, wait a minute. I think this is where they came up with the Jewish space lasers.
Oh.
Now I understand the Jewish space laser. They stole it
All
from
I
this
want,
movie.
all I want is a frickin' wolf with a laser on its head.
The laser beams.
Oh.
It was also fun. We had a HODL and a model, which is hotel and motel, but no Holiday Inn.
Well, there you go.
All right, sorry.
Good try.
All right,
All right, let's jump in.
Bring up the graphic, Eric.
I do have a graphic. Hold on, let me get the graphic. Hold on. Here it is. Fiddler on the Roof. 1971. My apologies. Rated.
Oh, 19. Actually, it might be 1970.
A bunch of people.
I think it's 71.
And directed by Norman Jewison. We'll talk about that later. Is that Steen or Stein? Dan Green, Joseph Stein, who knows? Budget of $9 million, worldwide gross of $83 million. Critics at an 80%, audience at a 92%. So much love.
So my mom picked the movie, and she has texted me.
She had 23 spots on the wheel, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Just for the record. She earns
Now,
that voice.
before I read her stuff, when I was in sixth grade, the summer between sixth and seventh grade, I believe it was the Center Theater Players presented this at the big outdoor amphitheater, Penn State Beaver. What was that called? It had a name, didn't it?
It did, and I
believe
never
was the
remember it.
Outdoor Amphitheater at Penn State Beaver.
No, it had
Broadhead
a
Cultural
name.
Center.
It was a memorial.
Broadhead Cultural Center. That was it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, you're right.
Yeah.
The Broadhead Cultural Center. Speaking of cultural centers,
That's Scott? Yes, it's Scott.
hello, Scott.
It's Scott. As a baby, he'll grow. Bring Scott back.
Throw me a freaking bone.
I see this as an absolute win.
And now he's going to unjoin.
Are you sick again?
I'm still sick.
Oh wow.
Dude, it's
Wow.
a
I got
week.
nothing. I had
You got
nothing.
All right. Well, think about what I told you last week. That's okay.
Are you drinking vodka
well,
there? In honor of the movie?
No, this feels good against my head.
Oh, bottle of
Oh my
Mike
God,
he's been
Scott.
drinking out of.
But I'm doing fine though. But yeah, it's Fiddler.
So,
Where are we? What are we talking about?
all right, I'm just talking about when I was in sixth grade.
Get a lad.
I auditioned to be in this play. I was very upset I did not get a speaking part. I think I made a scene.
Uh-oh.
And they gave me one line, which was fight. Still remember it. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Anyway, and I think someone in the Sheamer family was in this.
Yes, I believe so. I'm sure it was Richard.
Yeah, probably.
No, Dave, didn't your wife do some of these plays?
I did Carousel. I don't remember exactly who was in which ones. It's the memories.
I had the
start to fade.
program. I can't find it. I had it during the pandemic. I'd gone through I can't find it. But I know Bruce Irvin was in it, who was in a bunch of things with your brother, Eric. He did like Joseph and Godspell.
Yes. Very popular.
He played, I think he played the tailor. There were a lot of cute girls in it. I remember that
Oh.
in the dream sequence. I remember there was a pool party afterwards, and some kid threw me in the pool, and I can't swim. It was I still remember that. And the hand of God came in and pulled
Good thing
me
there was
out.
no water in it.
We put you in a waterbed and you can't swim?
You don't need to swim on a waterbed, Scott. Now when
You're
you get
using
the
the wrong
waterbed
kind of
from
waterbed, Scott.
when you get the waterbed from the inventor of the waterbed, you're going to get a good waterbed.
It's a bargain basement waterbed. There's no top on it. It's fine.
Yeah,
okay.
this was not a Chinese knockoff. And Adam says you're patient zero, so
Wow. There it is.
might
Well,
be a new disease going around.
it's all right. I have zero patience as well, so it's
Oh.
a generational problem.
COVID-23.
Woo!
So my mom did pick this movie after having, what did you say, 29 spaces, 23 spaces?
23 spaces on it. Yes.
Here's what she said. This movie and play, it's always had a special place in her heart because a town like this is probably where her family came from.
Yeah.
Her grandfather was a tailor. They probably had an arranged marriage.
Wow.
And at this time in our lives, watch this movie seems fitting. Hatred and violence due to anti-Semitism have been around a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
But as Tevye says when talking to God, I know we're your chosen people, but once in a while, couldn't you choose someone else?
I love that line.
As for the quality of the film, from my non-expert opinion, it is well crafted, directed, and acted, full with music that touches the heart and soul. When my husband and I were younger, this would be my father, we went to New York for a weekend and saw Fiddler performed on Broadway.
Did she see Topol in it?
Maybe.
Or Herschel Bernardi or Zero Mostel. Depends on what
I think
year
Zero
it would've been.
Mostel is who she saw.
Yeah.
Zero Mostel is the original, yeah.
Let me know. I think Zero Mostel, because that's what I saw. When the film came out, a large number from us in the Jewish Community Center went to see the Manor Theater in Pittsburgh. People from all over the world have seen it, no matter what their race, religion, have related to the story. And that's all. She said she had a few typos, but I already corrected them when I read.
Well, that was very nice.
We can read
Dan,
Yes.
I found a photo of you from when you auditioned for the Center Theater Company.
Oh, no.
You might not remember that.
I didn't realize he'd auditioned for Tevye.
He's auditioned for Tevye's pizza guy.
It's a me, Tevye.
My sister, I do see Stacey and Wade are buffering.
They didn't
Stacey was playing with the camera or phone, and then they just went offline. So
See, that's why you don't get to play.
My sister was the prop master for this
I have
play.
a picture of her. No, I'm getting good.
And I remember, what was the guy's name? Harvey? Oh, I can't remember his name. He had a daughter and a son that were also involved in it. He might have been a little effeminate, the guy that was the director. God, I can't remember his name. My mom will remember. Dave, you might remember. Harvey?
No, I can't.
Somebody named Harvey. He did all the plays. Like
I remember a name Harvey, but I can't remember, and I can picture him in my mind, but I can't place it.
Can you
I think it's
No.
wait. He had a son, Derek, that played drums.
Margaret just yelled upstairs, Harvey Haddix.
Okay.
Maybe. The last name doesn't sound familiar. Anyway,
unclear.
She would know.
Yeah.
I just remember him saying he was yelling because people kept eating the bagels that were part of the props. And he's like, people, stop eating the props. People are eating the props. And
You're stealing the sewing machine. Quit stealing the sewing machine.
That's what they always
they
tell
did the
you
whole
at theater
bottle.
school. Like, if it's not yours, don't eat it.
And they did the bottle dance, and they had bottles that were specially attached to the hats. It was amazing. Darlene Kaplan, I think, now that I remember, and Benji and Aaron, the late Aaron Kaplan. They were also in it as young Jewish boys.
So I technically did do Fiddler on the Roof in high school. It was the opening number for the producers at BPA. So in 2009, it was like Max Bialystock does this whole parody called "The
Speaking
King
of Zero
All
Mostel,
yeah,
Yes.
and we literally had to have like the hats strapped, the bottles strapped to our heads, and I was just going around doing cabriolets and all sorts of really crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Literally.
Herschel Bernardi is who my mom thinks she saw.
yeah, those.
Rebecca said this is an incredible movie.
The
Says this introduction to Topol was in Flash. Who was he in Flash Gordon?
What?
He'll save every one of us.
Wow, you should watch that next. No.
Wait, well, you have to watch that. You watch Ted first, then watch Flash Gordon, or the other way around.
Flashover. Did we talk about the director?
Jewison?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He did
what-
Moonstruck.
Yep, good director.
The punchline on the movie is that he got Sheridan with an Oscar. That's amazing. That guy's an amazing director.
Ah,
Whoa, that was.
So Topol,
But they're not really there. So give them a second to buffer.
did you pull the picture up? I wasn't paying attention because I was trying to pull it up myself.
Oh, the one.
There he is in Flash Gordon.
Wow.
Chaim.
Yeah,
Chaim Topol was his full name.
Yep, he just died this year. I read that.
Wow.
Yes.
He had Alzheimer's, and then yeah.
Flash Gordon.
He was also in For Your Eyes Only,
Oh, really?
which ironically was filmed at the same studio as this movie in London.
So he was Dr. Zarkov. Okay.
There you go.
She looks like
Topol, one of the famous single name people.
Yeah.
He was very good, and he was in, I believe, the original UK cast when it opened over there. Mostel, I would love to see Zero Mostel's performance in this because he's just such a brilliant actor, but he did have a reputation for going off script, which is why some directors didn't like to work with him.
Well, same thing with Kelsey Grammer on Frasier, but he's been that character his entire life. So,
But I think The Producers is probably Mel Brooks' best film. I just absolutely love that movie.
oh, absolutely. I'm surprised
When
he
they
hasn't
were
reviewed
on,
it yet.
when they went to Broadway, they saw Half a Sixpence and View from a Bridge in that weekend.
Wow.
Why
So
didn't
they
they
saw
see the
three
full
pence.
percentage? No, I'm kidding.
They did not see Cats.
Oh.
I remember seeing this movie for the first time, but I don't remember the exact circumstance. I know I didn't see it in theaters. So I'm guessing, and I was trying to Google and I couldn't find when it first aired on television. Because I probably saw it the first time it aired on network television. And the scene that struck with me as a teenager is the film, my current age, I view a lot of this movie very differently than I did as a teenager.
Yes.
Your life has a very different meaning when you're looking at it from this direction than from that direction.
Yeah.
But the scene I remember so well was because they build up with the three daughters, on the other hand, and he ultimately caves, and the second daughter, on the other hand. But I still remember when he's doing that, on the other hand, no, there is no other hand. And that's just like, I remember just going like, whoa. And just my reaction to that was just how powerful that writing was and the way that was handled. I loved that.
Yeah. If your musical's already well written before you even start the music, like you've won.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the music in this. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying, it did catch some criticism. I mean, it was a huge, huge success on Broadway. It was the longest running Broadway show until Grease broke its record. But one criticism it did face was that it was somewhat watered down from the original stories. What I read was in the original stories, which I've never read. At the end of the stories, his daughters have all scattered. His wife is dead. He's basically a lonely, old man with nothing. So they definitely sort of softened that, and also the local constable, magistrate, whatever that character was, is presented much more conflicted than he was in the stories, where apparently he's just an absolute SOB.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sad enough the way it is. I mean, it's not it doesn't leave you with a lot of feel good moments at the very end.
Well, you're not going to get a whole lot of,
No,
Jews being forced out of Russia stories, a real feel good.
I'm glad they softened it up a little bit.
I think the only feel-good Russian movie I've ever seen is Anastasia, and that's a Don Bluth movie based on a Disney princess. So.
Although, I mean, there are some great, To Be or Not to Be. Ernst Lubitsch is just, it's a brilliant. It's one of the two, in my opinion, great World War II comedies that were made during World War II. The other being The Great Dictator. It's Jack Benny, Carol Lombard. It basically is a troupe of Shakespearean actors in Poland, and it's just I highly recommend it. It's brilliant.
There's only one movie I've seen that I've considered scarier and sadder than Schindler's List, and that is Come and See.
Not seen it.
Those movies. Yeah, if you value your sanity, don't watch it. It's absolutely heartbreaking. You need therapy after that movie.
Now, we talk about this movie being too long, and it was. It had an intermission.
No,
you don't think
I
so?
don't agree.
Was it long or was it too long? Those are two different.
I think it was long. I'm
Well,
not sure it was too long.
The
I'm sure
opening,
it was too long. It was long.
but there was like 10 minutes before they even got to the opening credits, and the opening credits were like an hour.
Yeah.
If they
The
just
opening
did the
credits are
credits,
nothing compared to a Marvel movie. Come on.
This was
They don't do
also
opening
back.
credits in a Marvel movie.
This is also back in the '60s, where if you did a giant musical that was on Broadway, like you had the Sound of Music experience, you had intermissions, you had the long credits, you had the overture.
Well, all
during the
movies
stage
until Star Wars had the credits at the beginning of the movie.
That's right.
I mean, really, if you take this and you put the credits at the very end of the movie, then you are cutting like 10 minutes off because people are getting up and leaving at that point. Because it's the end of the credits.
Well, I mean, it's about story first rather than music first, right? And also, it's about replicating
I think
the
it's
musical
perfect.
experience.
I think part of the problem too was I watched it on Tubi, on an airplane, which meant I had commercials, and the commercial came on, and I got distracted. And I was like, "Oh, what else is going on?" So I'd start, and I'm like, "Oh, wait, I'm watching it on my phone to start with. I can't go to my," and then I just went down another rabbit hole.
I thought Topa was excellent. I thought the casting in general was very good. The actor that really impressed me the most, just because his face was so expressive, was Modal, the guy who played Modal. When he's getting married, and when he gets his sewing machine, the amount of joy that his face can express is just impressive.
Yeah,
Leonard Fry.
The only real story complaint I have, and it feels weird again to have like complaint because it's hard to know if like my criticism is about the original musical versus the TV edit.
It was apparently a pretty faithful movie.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. So I feel like this is kind of more criticism of like the musical, which I think is a very good musical. But unless I like missed a scene, it felt like there was very little attention paid to the youngest daughter and her relationship with her like husband. Like I felt that I got very strongly the first two daughters and why they fell in love with their like eventual partner and their story. And then when they came to like ask the dad, it was like, yeah, I know that you two are really close. For the third daughter, we had like the one scene where like he waved to her in a field and she's like, oh, okay, I guess you're kind of cool.
Well, and there was also the scene where he stood up for her when the guys were bullying her.
Yeah, but I feel like we got very little of their relationship.
You don't get a lot of their story.
Yeah,
Agreed.
and given how important their story was ultimately, it felt like kind of weird just compared to the other two couples.
I agree. And Dave, that scene was all one scene where he defended her and then they walked along in that field.
Okay.
That's basically
And
it.
like we saw a scene where the two of them like being like furtive. It's like, oh no, your father's approaching too. But like we didn't really get to see like why they were attracted to each other, which we did for the first two couples very much.
Right.
This movie and just generally this musical also falls to the trap where you know that in order to get into the world, they have to give this big, huge, joyous, suck you in number. And just, I don't know if it's just like instinct, but I feel like everyone just kind of can tell if a movie starts off almost too happy, you know something really heavy is going to come up. Sound of Music, West Side Story, all of that. It's trying very hard.
Oklahoma.
I mean, but the big hits, are all in the first in the first break of this.
It's true.
As far as I mean, and I think that is to get you engaged, immediately involved, invested. You understand the story, you understand everything that's going on. You're like, all right, I'm in. Right? There's so many wonderful songs right off the bat.
Well, probably the only song from the second act that sort of, it's certainly not as famous as Fiddler, as If I Were a Rich Man or Sunrise Sun, but Do You Love Me does at least play some. That one you get some play from. Yeah.
So that's why my mom's arguing with me about the commercials now. I saw some that weren't Amazon Prime commercials.
We got a lot of car commercials.
Yeah, I think it all depends.
We got a variety. But I agree that they weren't super. We watched some Pluto TV and they weren't super long, which is nice.
Wait, did I watch Freevee or did I watch Tubi? I don't even remember which one I was watching on now.
You watched
Topol. I was on Freevee.
Are you going to give this a lower score because of the ads?
No.
Oh my gosh, I love this part.
The Halloween scene, yeah.
We have to talk about the Halloween scene.
It is so fabulous.
We made it a Halloween movie.
I did not. Okay, so this was my first time watching the movie, as far as I know. I'm sure I saw the play, but it was probably 40 years ago, right? So for me, this completely came out of left field, and I was not ready for this. It's awesome, and it's really well done, but it was so unexpected.
It's the first Big Let's Alligator moment. It's a big, huge, ridiculous number, and then no one mentions it ever again.
It's so when when our high school did it, it was cute. It was not as cute as this. There was only like 4, 5, 6 people on stage with Tevye and Golda in the bed, and it was okay. And then Sarah came out screeching. Oh my gosh!
Apparently, in high school, my wife was Sarah. So.
Oh, that's awesome. So when this came on, I hadn't. It is awesome, but But anyway, so I hadn't seen this movie all the way through ever. When they did the musical, I watched Sunrise Sunset because I loved how the high school did it, and I was a little disappointed when I just watched the movie. I'm like, oh, that's not watching it all together. It was beautiful this time. So, but the graveyard scene, I was like, what are they going to do for that? Because like it's a dream sequence, and it was really funny in the musical. This was so perfect and so hilarious, and then he's giggling at the end like I did it.
How to lie to your wife.
Oh my gosh, it was so it was fabulous. I loved it.
I one thing I loved about the show in general that the movie certainly retained was just Tevye's ongoing dialogue with God. Yeah. And just as he's walking along, just it was sort of the thread that ran through the entire movie.
It was like a noir.
I think the fiddler on the literal fiddler on the roof is an interesting one where like I feel like at some level it kind of conceptually works a lot better as a stage musical than as a movie because in the stage musical you kind of assume like he's not literally there. This is a musical. It's like an interpretation. Well, it's like, oh, there's a dude out there.
Although hats off to them for getting Isaac Stern to do the solos.
Yeah, and I thought they did it pretty well. It was just it was a little bit weirder as a dynamic in a movie version.
Yeah, and they're making eye contact.
Yeah, like he knows he's there.
And he's sort of creepy looking.
Yeah, he was, because he was like,
wow.
Hey, I'm following you. I'm following you clear to America.
That's it, Dave. That's it.
So I Googled, I was trying to find the archive of the Beaver County Times. So I know there was an article about it. And the closest I could find so far was the deficits forcing the theater. And there's a picture of the theater.
Yep.
And
to get its act together.
Oh, but look
someone
at
had fun with that headline.
What year
I
was
know,
this?
Right? This is 1981.
Whoa.
In 1977, they lost $4,100. In 78, they made $1,500, but then they lost $4,000. In a 4-year period, they lost $22,000.
Yeah, but most of that was 1 year.
Yeah.
Well, here's what it looks like. Sorta looked like a couple weeks ago.
Oh boy!
Oh, they demolished it. Huh?
They did, and I haven't been past it since they did that. But somebody told me it looks beautiful over there now. So, but they hadn't used it in years. We just talked about this today at work.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was going to record my next comedy special there. Oh well.
It's an interesting show in that part of it is very, very much the Jewish experience in Western Russia and all that went on. And part of it is very much a common story that every culture faces, which is times are changing, and it's hard for the adults to accept the changes that are taking place. You know, the whole tradition and, the first daughter asks his permission, but only after he's given her away to someone else, so he has to sort of rescind on that offer. Second daughter doesn't even ask his permission, but they at least ask his blessing. And then the third one is just, we're already married after you forbid it. It's just each stage is getting more and more away from what he knows and what he's comfortable with.
Isn't that also what it's like when you have 3 kids? Like the first kid you're strict with, the middle kid gets away, does a lot of crap, and and then by the time you have the baby.
Yeah. Much of the dynamics are the same when you're like, there's 2 at once at the beginning. You don't really have like a single one.
Oh, speaking from experience.
We were so lax with Jen after the whole Amanda experience,
Minutes difference.
So before we score, I have one more fun fact. The guy who played the fiddler also plays the old man in Raiders of the Lost Ark that translates the headpiece.
No way.
Oh,
Very
Yeah.
cool.
and
Wow.
Model was played by Leonard Fry. He also played Mendel, the rabbi's son, in the 1964 Broadway show.
Yes, with B. Arthur as Yenta.
Right?
No.
Wow.
Really?
Yes,
Yeah.
and Bert Convy.
Bert Convy.
Yes.
That's funny. That's awesome.
This movie has it all. Rebecca, you sound like what's his name? Bill Hader's Stefan. When he's like, this movie has it all. Romance,
Bert
humor,
Convy.
historical significance, and Bert Convy.
Bert Convy played Perchik.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I could see him as Perchik. That's cool. Very cool.
All right. Are we doing it? Are we doing it? Are we doing it?
Let's score this puppy.
Whoa.
Oh.
Ay, ay, ay.
So I'll do my mom's first, and she texted me her score. And then I guess, should I do mine then?
Yeah, then just
Or
do
should I come back to me?
No, I'll do yours.
To yours.
All right. As my mom said, this is a very, movie's been around our family our whole lives and very important. We saw it on Broadway. My mom gives this a 100.
Woo!
It is her first 100 score, I believe.
I believe that is correct.
And I will say exactly what Rebecca said, which is perfect. This movie does have romance. It's got humor. It's got a lot of historical significance and culture, and a lot of what's going on today in Israel. There's a lot of, just it's been going on forever.
Much like this.
Will it
movie.
ever
No, I'm
end?
kidding. That's a joke.
Wow. And while I did think the movie was long, I also had watching on an airplane, and I'd seen it before, so it wasn't like it was my first time. But I think the commercials, probably watching it without this on a DVD or a download or something would have been a better. I should have spent the $3 is what I'm saying. I don't think I've ever given a movie 100. I'm still not going to, but I will give this a 99 because it is a great. It's just an overall. It's well done from top to bottom.
That's true.
And now I'll go to Dave.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
And Starsky was
always.
in it.
It's always hard to separate a movie that is based on a stage show from the stage show. Am I judging the movie or am I judging the story, the show? It's always a little tricky. We faced that a few times. We faced it with Cats as a perfect example. And so, I mean, I love the show. And I think the movie is an excellent adaptation of the show. They changed some things, but they kept the core together. And I will disagree with one of the comments that's in the chat about it's not very uplifting. I actually think it is. I think any movie that is human nature and persevering through persecution, it can be painful to watch. It can be painful to see, but it is ultimately uplifting because it's a story of not giving in. And the sad thing is, Perchik with all of his ideals and getting arrested is the Jews had it no better under the communists. The official communist line under Lenin and Stalin was that anti-Semitism was bad and was evil and was to be avoided, but they basically turned a blind eye to it. And then they outlawed, like all religions, they outlawed Jewish religion. So it's the story of those who stayed does not have a happy ending if you think it through. But it's a show that I have a great deal of fondness for, and I think the movie, while not perfect, did an excellent job of adapting it. So it's a 92 from me.
92? Whoa. Oh, my.
Rebecca took a point off for that.
It was amazing.
Love it.
That's what made it fit into the Halloween month.
That's right. Exactly.
My dogs are going crazy.
Amazing.
They love that score.
Okay, so I believe this is my first time seeing the movie version. The year ahead of Jen and I in high school did this as the yearly musical. So I saw like a high school musical performance of it years and years and years ago. So I was familiar with a lot of the music and the broad strokes, but this is the first time seeing the movie adaptation. With the discussion of movie adaptations of musicals. Like we've done Cats, we did The Odd Couple. I think this is the type of one that works better as a movie adaptation, just because it is a fairly grounded and kind of not gritty, but kind of gritty-ish like story. So Cats is a bit of a weirder one to adapt because it is so kind of fantastical. And The Odd Couple, for some reason, I don't know, it didn't translate as well for me. I don't know if it was because it was like more of a light comedy, or I don't know. For some reason, I think this did translate very well, and I think they did a very good job with the locations and and everything. So I think it's a very good adaptation. My only real story complaint is that, as I mentioned, that like development of the younger sister's relationship, but otherwise I think it's a well done narrative. I like the music a lot. I think some of the songs felt a little long to me. If I Were a Rich Man went on weirdly longer than I remembered it going on. Like that was a long song, and like it's just him, and he did it really well, but like it really didn't like. It was just the refrain, like over and over again. So
I get it.
it's like I know, okay, cool. It'd be great to be rich. Got the book. But yeah, I don't know. I like the musical. I think it's good. I don't wish it were different, but I tend not to be as engaged or want to rewatch a story that gets this depressing and stays this depressing for so long, which I don't think is a criticism of the movie, but my ratings are always kind of a balancing act between how well I think it is in terms of objective quality and how much I would want to rewatch it. So it's like if it were just in terms of quality, it'd be very much higher. But personally, I like it. I respect it as a movie. I think it's very well done. I like the music a lot. I don't feel a need to rewatch this much at all. Yeah. So if I were getting a chance to see it as a musical, I would probably go see it. But the movie, it's good. So I'm going to give it an 82.
What was it?
82.
82.
Nice.
Now, I just want to throw in one time I was emceeing a karaoke night at the synagogue here. And a friend of mine who is a doctor, his wife is a veterinarian, and their best friend is a lawyer. And they were singing "If I Were a Rich Man." I'm like, oh, come on. Doctor, a lawyer, and another doctor.
Walk into a synagogue and say, which
There,
one is
there might be Josh
If I
Gad
were
was
a
on.
richer man. Da, da, da.
Josh Gad was on Conan being interviewed, and he was talking about how he, from being a young kid, he wanted to be in theater, and he like wanted this for years and years and years. Went to CMU, got his training in theater, tried it for a couple years, was having zero success. He has two brothers, both of whom are in law school. He calls up his mom and goes, "Mom, I think I'm going to hang this up. I think I'm going to go to law school. I don't think this is working." And his mom started crying. And he was like, "What's wrong?" She goes, "For 18 years you wanted this, and you're going to give up after 2.5?" He said he couldn't imagine a Jewish mother not wanting her son to go to law school and instead go into theater. But ultimately, he said then shortly thereafter, he got his first break, and yeah.
Very cool.
Well, my mom is the reason why Dr. Laugh is my email address, because I've been doing comedy for 6 years when email came out. And I said, I've been doing comedy 6 years. She goes, 6 years? You could be a doctor if you would take 6 years into it. So I said, my initials are DR Laugh. And my mom doesn't talk like that. That's not my mom's
She
accent.
doesn't.
I was gonna say that's a terrible impersonation.
You'll be a doctor. My mom is not Zero Mostel. And Scott, how does your background look like it's moving? Like it looks like it's like a blur.
He's in purgatory.
It's a
Like
filter.
you did a motion blur.
Yes, I'm the one.
I know the filter is
non-Jewish person
blur,
here.
but it looks motion blur.
It's the EriDan blur effect sponsored.
Oh, wow.
Nice T-shirt, by the way.
Yes, thank you. I thought you noticed that. So I have a bunch of different directions that I could go with this. Why I love this movie. I'll try my best to be brief. So I thought about other shows that have come out before this one did, and how they tended to portray Jewish people. Whether it was like the modern corporate, I got to go after the money kind of guy, or even Fagin and Oliver is pretty much an exaggerated Jewish caricature to the point where if you watch the Alec Guinness performance in the 40s, the guy has the whole thing. So it's nice to actually have had a show that focuses on the intimacy of the Jewish experience and what it's like to literally lose everything, kind of have your own Job story. where you have your faith and you have God that's going to carry you through. With that said, the musical is so much more focused on just being a very grand, old school American musical, where it's much more of an experience rather than a character study. And it's really interesting to me because the other big movie that came out in this period that was really intently focused on having an intimate experience and actually going in the opposite direction of all those movie musicals at the time was Cabaret. You actually feel like you're there. You're uptight. The music happens in real time. And it's actually discussing new political issues rather than trying to make up for old representation that was never there. Or at least at the level that it should have been. So I still think it's a wonderful story. It is a beautifully performed film. You know, it's not uplifting in a couple different ways. There's some heavy hitters, but, you know, as a story of perseverance and family and honestly a beacon of hope to a lot of people. Like, you can't really say that this is an unlikable movie. And I feel like that is always an achievement. Like, even people who say that it's not their thing, if they still say that they like it, like, that's up there for me. So I'm going to give this one a 95.
95. Woo.
95. All right, to the writers.
Hey. You gonna let me go first?
Sure.
Yeah, so I liked it, and I was talking with some people today about Fiddler on the Roof and how it's actually more of a, I guess almost like more of a wholesome type musical compared to a lot of other ones out there, and the music is actually pretty well done, and in the movie, you know, it hit all the bases, and it didn't have like a real famous actor crew to bring in things. It was just well done. So I'm going to give it a 95 also.
95. Stacy.
Like I said earlier, I've seen this movie in pieces over the years. Like in high school, when there was nothing else right before break, and they just throw a movie in band, and nobody paid attention, but it was on in the background or chorus, so I'd see pieces of it. And then I didn't watch the whole thing, like I said, when Emma did the musical a couple of years ago. But I had to see Sunrise, Sunset because the school did such a fantastic job, and I wanted to see real Hollywood do it. And I was like, oh, that is not as good as the high school. But watching it last night, I was like, oh my gosh, I love this song. It's so beautiful. I love everything about it. It was long, and it is depressing, and because it's real. It's about stuff that really happened that was depressing and is going on right now. That graveyard scene just kills me. It's so hilarious.
It's real, Stacey. It's real.
It's real. And I love that comedy out of that, and it was just perfect. And I had to look up Laser Wolf to find out what that name is. It's Lazarus. It's short. It's the right. Hebrew for Lazarus. I don't know if you guys talked about that when we were out of power, but I had to look that up because it was driving me crazy. What else? And then the guy who played the constable, I'm like, I know him. It was Paul Reiser's dad on Mad About You.
There it is.
Yeah. So, but Scott, I agree with so many things you said about this movie and why it was done and how well it was done. And watching it all the way through and seeing it all, and just I was surprised because, like, when you watch it in pieces in band, when you're waiting for the bus to come, it's not as good, and you don't get it. And as a 50-something person now and watching it, it was just beautiful. So I'm going to give it a 92.
92 from Stacy.
92. My mom also just texted me that Laser is my father's Hebrew name.
Wow.
It was my father's Hebrew name.
Wow.
You could have been Laser Jr.
Well, it would be Daniel something. Wait, Daniel Benjamin, son Ben Laser. I don't know.
Daniel Laser sounds like a great Flash Gordon name.
Yeah.
That's right there with Wolf Blitzer.
Maybe my new stage name. Hi, Dan Laser.
Dan Laser.
Pew pew.
It's your morning DJ, Dan Laser.
Good morning. It's Dan Laser in the morning. All right. We have Eric still. Sorry.
You do
Sorry. I hit the button.
That's all right. That's all right. I can wait.
Your shirt was so loud I couldn't hear myself.
That's good.
You know what my general opinion, this movie does such a good job at education, right? Which I think is super tricky to do in a movie and keep it entertaining, let alone a musical, right? Because it does give you such an in-depth look at, culture and of course that period of time. I think a happy ending on this would have been disgusting and wrong, right? Because of that period of time, right? I am sort of in the Amanda camp where the length of it, well, I don't think it was too long. I think it was the right length for what it needs. There's nothing I would really want to cut from this. It is sort of a deterrent from wanting to watch it over and over again because it is long. But I found it, I think it's important. I think it's wonderful. It's obviously historic. The music's amazing. Will I watch it over and over again? I probably will watch it again in my life, but probably not, on repeat. It's not a Marvel movie. It's not canon. No.
It's not the Eras tour.
Jewish popcorn sound.
Talk about the Eras tour in a bit. I'm going to go with 90. So there we go.
Wait,
now, Adam,
did you rank this higher than Cats?
Yes, Cats was an 81 for me. So take that.
Wow. So Adam ranked this 35 times better than Cats.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
But still, it's only a 35. And he said, sorry in advance to my mom for the score. The movie just wasn't for him. Too long, too depressing. Didn't connect with him at all. And obviously, Adam, it's a musical. And there's romance. So there's two things right off the bat that are anti-Adam. So I get that. 35, honestly, that's a pretty high score for Adam. That might be his highest musical ever. I'm not sure.
Unless you count the musical animated things like The Corpse Bride, but yeah.
Yeah, like the Nightmare Before Christmas, for example. Yeah.
Right.
No, there's too many graves and ghosts in that. This one only had one scene with graves and ghosts. That's why.
There you go.
I'll also say, to get back to Scott's point, this did come out on Broadway in '64, so it really was just sort of the Rodgers and Hammerstein era was ending, but this was still very much in that tradition. The sort of the Bob Fosse, Chicago, Sweet Charity, cabaret era was just starting to roll in. It was very much a transitional period. So this was a very sort of I'm going to say not quite a throwback because that era hadn't quite ended, but it was sort of the tail end of that era.
Yeah, family movies and musicals were kind of like the early 60s. People did give West Side Story Best Tony. It was Music Man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they were still very popular. That's true.
Well, Fiddler on the Roof coming in at an 87.90, beating out The Matrix.
Column 2.
Just damn. So a really respectable on the first page, second column movie for Fiddler on the Roof.
So it's our second most Jewish movie on the first page after Jojo Rabbit.
I guess that's true.
We can be.
You're muted, Dan. Do you know that?
Just
I am. My dogs are barking.
Okay.
It could be my mom's highest rated movie.
Wow.
I think
because remember she was hovering right at that 72.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Brittany says she's interested to finish it, maybe, but it's been a rough week for her, and she just struggled to get into it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Understood. Well, hopefully
she's had some shoulder issues and Netflix issues.
To watch it, the rest of it. Well, should we pick a new movie?
Oh, okay.
Sure. We're still doing this? Okay.
Will it be a Halloween
Dan's mom
movie?
has freed her grasp on the wheel.
Oh, you never know. She could get one tonight.
Out one spot.
It's one spot. Adam did it.
Yeah, Adam did it, but remember that long dry spell Adam had where he was never coming up?
That is very true.
He came up and then came up a week and a half later.
I'll say myself, I have a good portion of the lower left-hand corner of this wheel. I'm just saying.
Oh wow, you really do. Yeah.
You do indeed.
That corner.
But you know what? That's not how it works. You only need one space. So we're gonna give it a shuffle. Maybe did it shuffle? It didn't shuffle.
It didn't shuffle.
Not quite.
There it goes. Oh,
There you go.
Twice. I've changed fate. All right, here we go. Let's find out who gets to pick our movie. Our last movie for October 2020.
The movie of the week.
Dun, 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 dun.
The movie of the week. Dun, 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 dun.
Is this spinning forever?
It's been a long
It is
time, yeah.
spinning
A
forever.
long spin.
Hey!
Hey!
What a guest!
I
Why are we
call
getting
hacks. You
the
click
movie?
shuffle twice.
Eric gets
We're
to-
purging the wheel of these heavy hitters is what we're doing. We're getting rid of Dan's mom and Eric and freeing up the wheel for us mortals.
We're cleaning out. Okay, so I'm gonna go through my list here to see if I can find something maybe remotely
Oh, you're spooky.
Halloween-esque. I have a feeling I know what it's gonna end up being, but
Please
I
don't
No,
do
not
Hocus
that.
Pocus.
No.
Not Hocus Pocus.
yeah,
I do not
probably
like-
Hocus Pocus. No. So while I make a final decision. We can talk about what else you've been watching.
I watched the new Frasier series. It's not very good.
Oh.
I think it's good. I watched the first 2 episodes.
Revivals
But
are
here's the
tough.
secret. You have to go back and watch the last 2 episodes first.
Revivals are very tough. They
did a
don't
really
usually
good
work.
job.
Yeah.
I mean, they did a little. The biggest negative I thought was the character of Freddie was very much a nerdy, very very much like Frasier, and now he's not. The kids do change
Yeah.
Yeah.
in
To
30
me,
years.
so much of the original show was Niles. And
Yeah.
without
Yes.
Niles, it's hard to imagine that show.
But this will grow. I don't know if we'll get a second season, sadly, because it is only on Paramount Plus. It's not on network. It's not on broadcast television.
It seems like an epilogue season. And that was the thing. Like, yeah, I think you are right, Dan. It does connect well with the last 2 episodes. But, like, if you were to tell me what the best season of Frasier was, I would never say the last season. I don't think anyone thinks the last season.
There's
of
very
TV
few shows where the last season's the best season.
Yeah, Breaking Bad, maybe.
Ruby, what do you think?
I like Game of Thrones.
She's too cute.
Did you enjoy it? So did you watch Saturday Night Live, Eric?
I just watched the
You didn't even watch the rest of it?
well, I haven't had time to watch the rest of it.
Pete,
but I heard
Pete
about-
Davidson's opening monologue about watching Game of Thrones with his sister was hysterical.
Come on,
Yes.
Dad, sniff the butt on live TV.
You had
She's
dinner
asking
already?
for it.
This is great.
Wow.
The only problem I had with SNL this week was, okay, the Pete Davidson opening thing was touching, and then his opening monologue was okay. I felt like he was trying to be too Dave Chappelle-ish, like in his delivery, which it didn't seem like his normal delivery. But
The thing is, I'm not used to seeing Pete Davidson as a stand-up. I'm used to seeing him more in short
that's what
bits.
he is.
I know
That's
it
the
is, but
thing.
that's not how I'm used to seeing him. I'm used to seeing him on
Yeah.
SNL.
And Weekend Update was great, as always.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the only consistent part. Keenan Thompson, who is the spokesperson for Auto Trader, which is nice. But he does the same character. Everything he does is the same exact voice.
Mm-hmm.
Although he didn't do What Up With That. That's
Well,
my favorite.
there are occasional exceptions, but not many. His Big Papi was different, but most of his, I agree with you, there's a sameness to them. Yeah.
There's
But the longest running cast member in the show's history, and he just keeps adding to his record.
Yeah.
You're not going to.
Wasn't the previous one Tim Meadows?
Something like that. It's usually sort of the middle of the pack players that last the longest, because the real breakout stars leave to go into movie careers or stuff like that, and the ones that aren't that good fall away.
It's like the middle of the pack black actors, it seems. I'm just saying.
So there's that Disney short that came out on yesterday. Anyone see that?
Mm-mm.
It's like 100-year celebration of animation. They did a lot of sampling from old movies, like have all the characters come to life and hang out for a bit.
Very cool.
Yeah, it looks like a cool concept. I haven't seen it yet, but I've seen a lot of clips, and there was, of course, an AI debate about Robin Williams as Genie coming back, and did they actually use his takes? Did they use his lines, or did he generate anything? And no, the estate cleared everything.
Better than using the Will Smith version.
Right? No kidding. Yeah, we didn't see any of that, did we? I'm just glad that Disney's acknowledging that Bobby Driscoll was a human being. That's good. Yeah.
Is it on Disney Plus or?
It premiered on ABC Family, but they're going to have it on Disney Plus, I think, in like a month.
Okay.
And they're going to push that thing so freaking hard for the short this year. Yeah. If you like Disney, then you have to like this stuff. Sorry.
So, did they have any scenes from Song of the South?
I think the whole thing was about Song of the South, actually. I'm trying to keep it in the basement while the characters kept trying to break out. It was like Saw, but the Disney version.
Ouch. I saw the Eras Tour movie twice.
I saw that.
And then you managed to escape.
And if you're a fan, it's awesome. It's amazing. But yeah.
Isn't that true of anything? If you're a fan, you'll like it.
Well, no, it's not necessarily true because
Just talked about
you could make
Frasier.
a bad documentary or a movie about somebody, but
Yeah.
I think it's very good. I think it's amazing, and made over $780 million this weekend. So she's doing just fine.
Yeah.
So, Eric, you're talking. Did you find something?
I did. It's going to annoy everybody. I know this.
Cool.
What?
It's going to annoy everybody, but I feel like
It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
it's time to do the classics. And if we're going to do this, we have to do this. So we're going to go Ghostbusters
Oh,
Okay.
movie.
No, that's fine.
Streaming on Fubo.
It's a good movie.
and
I think it's overrated, but it's a good movie.
Yeah, it is.
Wait, didn't we do this already?
We did not.
No.
I triple checked.
We've not
Oh.
done Ghostbusters, Dan. You always
So
think we've
weird.
done the movie.
I live in an alternate universe.
Done already. We have not.
just very vivid dreams about
Are we
movies.
just piggybacking off the Fiddler scene? Is that what's inspiring this?
Yeah. Graveyard scene.
If my name were Venkman.
Ghostbusters.
I like if I were
All
a
day
big fan.
long,
That's
I'm
excellent.
busting ghosts.
So there you go. 1984. does
We're
it
all
hold up?
SNL hosts.
Great question.
But it's got music in it.
Oh no.
But then none of the characters are singing the music.
That is true. It's just Ray Parker Jr.
I've been slimed.
I did, I did a voice, because I was looking
Oh,
at
that's Disney. I've been slimed. I've been slimed. There is slime on it.
There aren't a ton of Halloween movies that aren't actually scary.
Right. Yeah.
He
Right.
slimed
If you're gonna
me
get
and I
into
liked it.
real horror movies.
Yeah, we already watched Young Frankenstein.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Exactly.
And I'm not a Rocky Horror Picture person, so I would
No,
not.
Rocky Horror is not the kind of experience to watch on your own, then come
Yeah,
together to talk
yeah.
about.
Yes, exactly. So
If I had one, I would have picked.
95 and 88.
I would have picked Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein.
Oh, then we probably would have had an ex-member of this show back because we had a rabid Abbott and Costello fan who used to be
no.
here.
No, that's true.
We don't need
Mensa
Raymond.
was a huge Abbott and
All
Costello
right,
fan.
we got another first pager because Adam likes it.
Yeah,
There you go.
exactly. Exactly.
First pager.
Is Linda Blair in it?
Ghostbusters is a good movie. It's just too long.
It's just a little
There's
slow.
no intermission. That's the problem.
Oh,
Wait,
shoot.
but maybe watching it the week after Fiddler on the Roof will make it seem short.
I had a glow-in-the-dark Stay Puft Marshmallow Man in my bedroom when I was growing up.
Where is that now?
It's somewhere in my mom's attic, waiting.
You should find that. You should find that for.
Yeah, you
All right.
should.
I'll ask her to call in Illinois.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, that's funny.
That'll work.
So let's see this. We watched Galaxy Quest. How many Sigourney Weaver movies? We watched Aliens
Oh,
or Alien.
Galaxy
Have we not
Quest
seen
is
Aliens?
I don't remember. Did we watch Alien or Aliens? Which one did we
I
watch?
forget which one we did.
One's directed
I
by
think
James
Alien.
Cameron. Yeah, Ridley
I think we did
Scott
the
did the
first one.
sneaky one.
Yeah.
It was art movie versus.
I ended up watching them all when we did it.
I remember, as you often do when you have time.
Yeah, I'm excessive.
Yeah, I love how Michael Fassbender's like, I'm going to watch Lawrence of Arabia at the beginning of the movie. You're going to wonder why.
Did we watch Alien? Why is it not showing up? Maybe we didn't, and I'm towing a Dan.
No, we watched.
I thought we did. Paul Reiser's in it.
Yeah.
Was he in Aliens?
Yeah, it was
Aliens. Yeah, there it is.
It was within the first 100.
Yes.
So Dan and I were before we went on. Dan and I were talking about the shirts they sell over at Hard Daddy, and this one would be appropriate for next week if you could pick up the.
Oh my word!
A Stay Puft Marshmallow dress shirt.
Is that?
Oh,
wow.
That also looks like the one from.
That looks like a Donald Duck costume.
No, it looks like
Or
the one
Popeye.
from Stranger Things.
That's really funny.
On a weird one, we did. Are we on to what else have you been watching now, or is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
So, just because we wanted something short and dumb to watch, because we watched season 1 shortly after the pandemic hit, we went back and as we've needed something short to watch, we did watch season 2 of Floor is Lava, and it's still dumb fun. It's just for just a half an hour of dumb fun of watching people being incompetent at basic physical challenges. It is pretty fun.
Yeah.
For those who say men don't grow up, there is Floor is Lava.
That was going to be my my next TV series pick. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. I don't know, but the story arc. How would you handle that?
Exactly. Let's talk about
I'll do season 1 of Survivor for my next TV show.
You have that on DVD.
I didn't know we could do reality shows. That's cool. I'm a big Hell's Kitchen guy.
That's fair. That's a fun one.
Oh my gosh.
We really do have season 1 and season 2 of Survivor on DVD here in this house.
See?
Very nice.
So crazy.
Those two shows are like the most big.
We'll do seasons 1 and 2 of Bewitched so you can compare Darren's.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Both named Dick.
Everybody has a motivational coach in their head, and for some people, it's Gordon Ramsay telling you your shit. And your risotto's raw.
No, telling you you're a donkey.
Well, of course I'm liberal.
We watched the pilot episode of Moonlighting.
Yeah.
It is streaming now.
I remember
Yes.
watching that the first time it aired. I do remember watching that. Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't remember. I'm not
Yeah, I
remembering.
didn't remember the first one.
I did once it started going, but I couldn't pull much from the past out of my head for this one until it started. I'm like, oh yeah, and Reagan was not impressed. It was long.
Adam says
it's definitely not in your wheelhouse, Adam.
Yeah, this TV.
it's a no for me. I won't have much input for the TV episode.
Yeah, it's a musical comedy with a lot of romantic stuff. It's really
So in
not.
2 weeks, we'll be talking about Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, which is what Adam is referring to.
Crazy rom-com, musical rom-com. I
Actually, I found I
finally
can watch it better if I fast forward through the music part. So.
That's most of the humor.
I know.
Yes, parts are.
It's like watching Top Gun, but speeding through all the flying.
I did the same thing with Fiddler on the Roof. I skipped
That's a
all the
5-minute
music
movie.
and just went to the depressing parts.
I finally started watching.
Oh,
Yeah.
what'd you think?
Wow, is that good?
Right?
Yeah, it's really good.
Bring this
And
out again.
Meghan Markle really should have just stayed an actress.
It gives you
Amanda.
something to watch while you're recuperating
How
there.
far along are you, Brittany? How far have you gotten into the show? How far along are you?
And how far are you, Eric?
I've like 3 episodes into season 2.
Okay, very nice.
We slowed down a little bit because
number 2.
and the Eras tour. So
Do it.
I think I watched one episode barely.
Why
I
is
think
that
at 4 I
surprising?
went to the beach.
How do you watch an episode barely?
just like this.
I was
I'm
like
gonna
this.
watch TV.
Ah, So you experienced it like you experienced Fiddler on the Roof while you were in band. You barely watched parts.
Exactly.
Yeah, you see.
Yeah. I was in the room.
All right, it's 8 episodes into season 2. Okay, so she's not that far ahead of me. She's,
You still have time to catch up, Eric.
She was really talking about it in the chat that one night. She was. And that we were
then I think she moved it to private chat because she didn't want to spoil it for people.
Yeah. Well, that's okay.
Yeah, I've been getting periodic updates, and it's been very
a lively
conversation.
Well, that's the whole point. That's the whole point, that there's chatter about it.
Yeah. Happy to spread the joy.
Exactly.
Unbelievable.
Too fun.
Let's see if I watched anything else.
I feel like we did too.
Well, I've been my brother turned me on to the live version of One Piece. And it's actually pretty good. I've enjoyed it.
I heard
there's only like 8 episodes for this season. They're going to make it a second season, but
it looks interesting.
Yeah, it was.
What I found interesting about it was how they made these real people look like anime when they do their facial expressions. This one guy, I swear his mouth got this big. I don't know if it actually did, if they actually made it look like it was just a camera angle. I don't know. That made me laugh. Not a fan though. I'm not an anime
Not your show?
It's not my show.
I understand. I didn't pick.
I'm in the room when it's on.
I didn't pick Resident Evil as the movie just because of you, Stacy.
Thank you, Eric. You're my good friend, and
I love a good zombie movie, but I
do you really?
I can take a horror movie, but zombie movies bore me. Except for Shaun. The only two I like: Night of the Living Dead and Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah. No,
things with the word "dead" in them.
I liked Warm Bodies, but no, I like all the Resident Evil movies. I enjoy the, Zombieland 1 and 2 are actually really good. But I wasn't gonna do that to Stacey.
That cracks me up, Eric. I never.
I know. I know. I like watching people get shot in the face.
So, to Adam's comment. To Adam's recent comment, is the Fall of the House of Usher based on Poe?
Yes.
So how are they extending that short story out? What are they? What's it based on? Because it's just a short story from Poe.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to watch it and let them know.
Did you guys know
it's
that?
It's a whole season. Oh.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that the lighthouse is actually
Adam and I agreeing on a movie right there, World War Z. That would have been that's a fun-filled zombie movie.
So you're saying if Super Troopers they were zombies, you would have enjoyed it?
Maybe it wouldn't have, couldn't have hurt.
Zombies make everything better.
Dave, I think that Hollywood can take anything and just add a bunch of filler into it, like fan fiction of anything. That's what I call it when they do.
Well, that's one of the reasons I enjoy some of the British shows more than the American shows, because although these days there are a lot of streaming shows that have short seasons, 6, 8, 10 episode seasons. It's fine if you're watching, back in the day when we were watching Seinfeld or we were watching Moonlighting and it was once a week, it was fine. But now if you try to go back and watch, it's like, there are so many episodes. It's just overwhelming.
Yeah.
Honestly, the strength of a show is defined by its filler. Because shows will repeat episodes all the time. There's a formula. And if you're just like, okay, this is the episode where Dwight tries to take over something again. You're like, okay, I like seeing that the first time and the third time. And the 10th time. So
it is interesting though, because any of those great shows, take the Dick Van Dyke Show, there's 4 or 5 episodes that stick out in your memory, and the rest are all good, but they just sort of merge into a large, amorphous blob kind of.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there even
Amorphous Blob. That was a good movie.
Yeah, that was. Yeah,
I
that was Corman
instead.
The sequel to The Blob. Well, then, you have shows that were just based on one concept. Ralph Cramden is fat, and he's stupid, and he's going to mess up, and Hal is going to berate him about it.
They caught lightning in a bottle when they cast Art Carney, though. I mean, that was... He was so brilliant on that show.
He was good enough in the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Oh, yeah?
Was he in that?
He was.
Oh, yes, he is.
It's a variety show.
B. Arthur's in it, isn't she?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
another
when
B.
you
Arthur.
think Star Wars, you think B. Arthur.
You guys in your
Yeah, exactly. And Shields and Yarnell.
Yeah.
Shields and Yarnell were in the Wild Wild West Revisited, or one of the reunions.
Oh my!
Yes.
I loved Shields and Yarnell as a kid, as a young teen, because I just thought they were just very good at what they did. But the idea of them having their own series was just that was the era of the variety show. They had Donnie and Marie, you had Sonny and Cher, Shields and Starland Vocal Band had their own variety show for a while. It was just
I don't even know
crazy.
who that is. Yeah, they put Shields and Yarnell in TV shows and stuff. Why? Because they were famous?
They were really popular for a while. Sort of like, they were just, for like 2 or 3 years, they just were a bit of a cultural craze. Sort of like Doug Henning was for a couple years, with his magic.
World of
just,
Illusion.
for whatever reason, you hit for a brief while, then you fade.
Yeah, like I said, they were in the Wild Wild West. They played robots.
Yep, of course. That's what they always did. Well, I mean, they made a movie. Remember Heart Bleeps?
No.
They made a movie called Heart Bleeps where they played robots. Yeah. Shields and Yarnell movie. Look it up.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, I'm so bummed. I could have chosen Casper.
Oh.
No. That does have a Ghostbuster in it.
I can't believe I missed out on my heart.
Oh, thank God.
Bill Pullman and Christina Ricci. Come on.
Yeah, no better movie than
I do kind of love that movie. I'm going to tell you honestly.
Oh, I liked it when the fat ghost got pulled into a vacuum, and before he disappeared in the funnel, he said, "This sucks."
Oh, and my memory completely failed me. Heart Bleeps was Andy Kaufman and Bernadette Peters as robots.
Wow.
I didn't hear that one either.
Believe it or not.
Wow.
I didn't.
Also with Randy Quaid, Christopher Guest.
Okay, now I gotta look it up because I'm thinking of Bernadette Peters.
Actually, Dennis Quaid as a robot sounds funnier.
Bernadette Peters has been some of the productions of Fiddler on the Roof.
Oh, I believe that.
Oh,
Yeah.
totally.
I can't remember if she was Golda or Yenta. She was one or the other.
She was
He played Rizzo.
One of the most disappointing things.
Rizzo and Fiddler on the Roof.
Throwing that out there.
No, that's Roxy on the Roof. That's a little different movie.
Wow.
One of the most disappointing
Roxy on the
things
Roofies.
about the Cinderella show I'm putting on right now is based on the Bernadette Peters Cinderella musical, but they gave her a song just for the TV show. It's not in the show. Like, she's just that person. You put her in a show, they'll give you an extra song just so that she can sing it.
Hey, Bernadette Peters Cinderella? I don't remember that one.
Yeah, she played the stepmother, the
Yeah.
Whitney Houston version.
Was that based on the Rodgers and Hammerstein
Yeah,
Julie
Dis-
Andrews / Leslie Ann Warren version?
Yeah, Disney kind of spun it off. Oh my God.
Heart Beeps, that's it, yep.
Oh my.
Andy Kaufman and Bernadette Peters.
I didn't know she could play a watermelon. I guess she could play anything.
It's a 4.2 on IMDb.
4.2.
4.2.
Out of 10?
Out of 10.
10, unfortunately.
Well, sort of out of 10. Spinal Tap is out of 11.
4.2. It's a 4.2 out of 4.2. It's a rating. It's a very weird.
They do actually,
On the
if you look
scale,
up,
it's a 4.
if you look up This Is Spinal Tap on IMDb, it's the only movie that's out of 11.
Why?
Because they do 11.
Yeah.
Come on, Stacy.
I don't know.
My mom started watching Mrs. Davis again.
And how's Mrs. Davis doing? Oh, you mean the show or the movie? Sorry, I thought she was watching Mrs. Davis.
Just from across the street, yes.
She's neighbor sitting.
She got her binoculars fixed.
She's got 2 cats.
Oh my goodness. So Dan, what's your Hebrew?
Yes. Daniel Benjamin. Daniel Benjamin, because there's no Justin in Hebrew.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Is that the letter J, Justin?
No, yeah, that's the J in Daniel J.
Okay.
DJR. And I was a DJ. Hey, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Eric's a DJ.
Yes, he is.
It's in the name.
Known as the Sire.
Who gives their kid the middle name The, though? I mean, I'm kind of sad about that.
You mean like Cedric the Entertainer?
right?
Right, for the record, I had 29 spots on the wheel this week.
Wow.
Nice.
And you
So I
picked
think
It's
you had the
29
most of anybody, right?
I did.
29 weeks since you picked a movie?
That wasn't a double feature, yes.
wow.
I know, right? Isn't that crazy?
And then you had to you had to be handcuffed into picking a Halloween themed
Well,
movie.
I could have, you know.
You could have ignored
I
that.
could have chosen a movie that would have been scary for everybody to watch.
Yes, you easily could have,
I just
as you
realized-
previously have.
I could have picked Oh God with George Burns.
I enjoy Oh God.
Why?
I do. It's not going to rate highly, but I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I've actually never picked a single movie. Both my picks have been double features.
Oh, that's interesting. Is that true?
Well, speaking of
Yeah.
important things, Adam asked a very important question. Will there be a Clutch Radio for sure this Saturday?
It's
yes.
not called Clutch Radio anymore.
Well,
Got
actually,
a new
no.
name, Adam, but
No,
we'll
there
find
will
out
not
on
be a
Saturday
Clutch Radio.
officially. There will be a Rafi and I will be on live at 10 a.m. on Saturday.
There will
I
be
get back from LA Friday night.
stream.
With their new podcast, Skid Marks, with Dan and Rafi.
Nice.
And the theme song is going to be Skid Row.
We have a new website, a new domain name, a new phone number. We've got a new intro Eric's working on.
But you have to find them on the internet. Good luck.
So
They're going to
not
be
on
in the witness.
same
They're going to be in the
Clutch-
witness
Tell you
protection
what
program.
it's called.
They're going to be.
What did you say, Stacey?
So it's not on the same Clutch station.
Yes, it'll all be on the same exact place. Or
Same clutch time, same
I'm gonna
clutch
try to-
station.
I'm going to try to just put it on my YouTube channel and my Facebook page. But
Okay.
it'll also be on it'll be all the Facebook pages that
All right.
Clutch was on, which is me, my comedy page, the Clutch page, and YouTube.
Okay.
And
I
Twitch.
did
We'll
for
do
half a
Twitch.
second consider picking Batman as my TV show.
Ooh,
It is a fun watch.
that would be a very fun watch.
All right. Well, we're at that 20-minute after the hour lull.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you want to do now?
Well, we got to start watching Ghostbusters.
Don't play
Actually,
Ghostbusters.
I have to feed my dogs and myself.
If you see a video game and it has Ghostbusters in the title, the only thing you should be playing is the Ghostbusters video game that came out in 2003. Everything else is absolutely awful.
Well, the 2003, there were much earlier Ghostbusters video games than that.
Oh yeah,
He's saying
don't play it.
they're awful, though.
Yeah.
Well, there was a great pinball machine. That was one of the real classic pinball machines.
And if you're looking for a TV series, you can watch the real Ghostbusters.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
No, you should watch the
No.
Extreme Ghostbusters. Was the one that Jen and I watched in the 90s. It was.
Oh,
It ran for a single season. It was cool. Jen, yeah, it was very good.
Sorry, it was Ghostbusters 2009.
Mm.
It actually has all the actors come back to do their own voices. It's basically
Well,
the
not Harold
colloquial
Ramis.
sequel. No, he's in it.
he is. Was he still alive at that point?
Yeah, he was.
This is the one I watched in the 70s.
oh, jeez.
Oh god.
Wow.
Larry Storch, Forrest Tucker.
See, I think that's AI generated. What if Ghostbusters was a 60s Western?
I actually watched it.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy.
What if you're AI generated, Stacy? We don't
I
know.
am.
Wow,
Wow, it got pretty lonely.
it's an amazing collection of humans.
He was
One
getting
good thing
all
is I do.
generate away.
Talking about Harold Ramis will give me a good opportunity to go into tangents about SCTV, so that's a good thing.
Yeah. And I get to talk about the bad movies. No, I love him. That guy's awesome.
Adam points out that the new Spider-Man 2 game is coming out this week. on
That's right.
PlayStation.
And that means that the first Spider-Man game is going to be a steal on Steam.
That's a very good point.
$5 or something. Mhm.
We'll be buying that here as well.
Well, next week we will answer. Who you going to call?
Dan.
What is that?
I don't know what that noise was.
You can't answer that now.
No, we will answer the question. Who are we going to call?
There's no way to know until next week.
So next week
Yeah, no.
we're gonna talk about Ghostbusters. Week after that, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Week after that, our last double feature of the year that isn't Christmas based or holiday movie based. So
Are we really doing that in December again? Haven't we run out of?
double features all month long for December. Get ready.
Yeah.
for your holiday movie classics. So start to think about what you might want to choose.
Oh, you guys
We'll
are
be
gonna
spinning
regret
the wheel
this.
twice every
Wow.
week. We'll spin the wheel twice and give everybody a chance to pick one of the holiday movies.
You guys are gonna regret if I get to have one of those spins.
Ooh.
I can't wait.
You have things in mind? Oh boy.
I know what I'm doing. Okay.
Some good Christmas zombie movies.
Oh yes.
All right. Well, we will see you back here Monday.
And I'll see you Saturday, 10 a.m., 1 p.m.
Oh, yes. Don't miss out.
For a show to be named later.
Fabulous.
We'll find out.
Oh, yeah.
Good night, all.
It's a teaser. All right. Bye. See ya. Put your phone down, Stacey. Bye.
In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.